So today we're going to take two topics that are related to the ones that we've been studying. We're going to talk about median and mode. These two, along with mean, are what we call measures of center. And they're exactly that. When you've got a list of data, they talk about the center or the typical number. So mean, what we talked about before, is really the average. The median is the number smack dab in the middle. And the mode is the one that happens the most often. So the median, if you've ever heard this word, maybe the median household income or the median age, they use it a lot in the media to represent statistics of things that happen in our society. You might also have heard it if you have been driving down the highway and there's that strip in the center, maybe it's grass or concrete, that's also called the median. It literally means middle. It's the middle of the highway, or in this case, it's the middle of a set of numbers. So let's talk about the median and how to find it. Step one is to put your numbers in order. Usually we go from least to greatest. After your numbers have been arranged, you're going to want to count in from either end. Sometimes you'll land on one number. Sometimes your list will not have one number exactly in the middle, and we have to do something else. I'll show you an example in just a moment. So let's look at an example. Let's say that we have the data 5, 15, 9, 7, 4, 9, and 8. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 pieces of information in this example. All right, our first step is to put them in order. I'm going to switch colors for this, is to put them in order from least to greatest. So it looks like we go 4, sometimes I'll put a little slash or check them off, then 5, then 7, then 8, 9 happens twice, and then 15. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. I always like to count my data after I've written them to make sure that I haven't missed any. All right, so we've got them all. So now this is the list that I'm going to be working with. You can take a pencil, I like to do it with both my fingers. I put one on each end, and then I move them in at the same time. So I'll move in one here and one here, move in one here and one here, move in one and move in one. In this case, both fingers landed on the same number. So my median is 8. And I have the same number of values on either side. So there's 3 that are below it and 3 that are above it. It has cut my data exactly in half. The median here equals 8. Okay. All right, let's get to another example. We'll talk about that in a second. All right, so let's look at the numbers. 12, 16, 18 that happens twice, 25, and 21. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 data points in this example. So again, we'll put them in order from least to greatest. We'll have 12, 16. This is almost done for us. The 21 and the 25 need to flip. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Okay. Same situation. They're in order. We're going to start at the end and move in. Move in, move in. Unfortunately, I don't have my fingers land on the same number. So I have to take the average, add them up and divide by 2, of the 2 numbers that are underneath my fingers. In this particular list of numbers, the number is the same. So if I add it up and divide by 2, I'm going to get that same number. But you're looking for what is smack dab in the middle of those 2 values. Now let's go back and talk about this. This one had 7 points. And this one had 6 data points. When you have an odd number of numbers on your list, you're going to end up smack dab in the middle on 1. When you have an even number of numbers on your list, you're going to have to do this and take the average of the 2 that are in the middle. So if you can imagine maybe this was 17 and this was 19 and I was to take the average, you would have here 18 in the middle. If that was my middle point, I still have half of my information below it and half of my information above it. Okay, so what I want you to do right now is pause this video, go to the Google Slides show that was linked with this assignment, and do the first 2 slides. They have a blue background. You're going to move the numbers. The numbers are movable in order, and then you're going to click in the box to give your answer. Once you've finished those 2, click back and resume this video. All right, so now that you've finished those 2 practice slides, let's talk a little bit about the mode. And I remember the mode as the most, not the highest value, but the one that happens the most often or the most frequently. All right, let's go back to our list that we use in the last one. There aren't steps for this one because you're just looking for the one that happens the most. So example 1, we had 12, 16, 18, 18, 25, and 21. There's no need for them to be in order. If it's helpful to you, you can, but they can be in any order. So when I look at my list, I'm not looking for things that are duplicated. I'm looking for the one that happens the most often. In this case, it happens to be 18 because they both happen twice. Let's look at another example. This list is a little bit longer, bear with me here. So 40, 52, 52, 44, 44 again, 50, 44, 46, 40, 50, 44, 41. When you examine the numbers on this list, you're going to see some that duplicate. I see 40 happens twice. I see 52 happens twice. I see 50 happens twice. And 44 happens 4 times. So the mode for this example is 44. I'm not so worried about the others that duplicate. That does give me some information about this list of numbers. I'm looking for the one that happens the most. If I was to say the typical, I don't know, maybe these are ages of people in a organization. The typical age of our members, I could say is 44 because the most number of people have the age of 44. Now it is possible to not have a mode at all. Let's look at example 3. So I have 5 people in this group. None of their numbers duplicate. So for mode, I'm not going to write 0. I'm going to write none. Because if I was to write 0, that would communicate that 0 was the most popular number in my list, and it doesn't occur on the list at all. Okay, so if there isn't a mode, you still need to write none. You can't leave it blank. Some people might write NA, like it's not applicable. None is a little bit easier to say. And in one final example, it is possible to have more than one mode, but it has to have very specific situations. So I'm going to take a little piece of this up here. I'm actually going to leave out my 44s, and we'll just take the other information. So 40, 52, 52, 50, 46, 40, 50, 41, right? It's just a different subgroup, maybe a subcommittee of this organization. So I have several numbers that duplicate. If they duplicate, they still have to have the most, okay? So we had some duplication up here, but they weren't the most. Down here, we have 40 that happens twice, so that is a mode. I have 52 that happens twice, that is a mode. And I also have 50 that happens twice, that is a mode. So it is possible to have multiple modes, but they still must be the most frequently occurring. Okay, I want you to go back to that slideshow. There are 3 slides with a brownish color background, and each of those deals with mode.